right now on Facebook. Yes, we are live, and we're live like a minute early. There's a reason for that. I want to give everyone a chance to get on this broadcast this morning because it's going to be life-changing. Good morning, everyone that is already on Instagram. Instagram, say hello to Facebook. Facebook, say hello to Instagram. It's so great that you guys are all here this morning. Just bear with me. So just give me one word to describe how you're feeling right now. The first thing that comes into your head. Are you tired? Are you excited? Are you up for it? How are you feeling right now? And also, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? No, where are you in the world? Where are you in the world today? So one word to describe how you're feeling, and then also just one word to describe, well, not to describe, one word to just tell us where you are in this amazing world that we live in. As I just share this in one other place, and then we can get started. We can get started on some really good content. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can become a champion in your own life. You could win an Oscar. How many of you would like to do that? How many would you like the idea of becoming an Academy Award winner for your life? This is one of the things that we're going to be looking at today because many of you have heard me say this before. A great life doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design, and it's something that we all have to work on. So thank you for joining me this morning. I really appreciate all of you. Feel free to share this. Share it. You never know. I interviewed our member of the month, and you'll be able to hear that interview I believe next week. Amazing person, and they found this by chance because someone else shared it. Someone else shared it, and they shared it, and it appeared on their timeline, and someone watched it. You just don't know. You don't know what can happen just by sharing, and that's one of the best things that we can do is share our lives with other people, and also share how we feel about where we are, and share what it is that we want. So my goal for today is to enlighten you and to share with you some very powerful content that could radically change your life. What we've been doing with many of my 365 members is helping them create an amazing life by going to work on themselves. And that's something I'm still doing. And I will never stop doing, working on myself. So today we're looking at you becoming an Oscar award winning actor for the part that you're playing in your life. And incidentally, just so you know, today we're opening up the weight loss challenge again, and you can pre-register for that if you want. If you're someone who wants to lose weight, if you're someone who wants to gain control of your eating with your emotions, if you want to really go to town on your health and your well-being, click on the link, pre-register. We open the doors next week, and it is, I believe, the best weight loss program in the world. We're just getting phenomenal results with people, and it's there for you to pre-register. So whether you want to do it, whether you know anyone, I know it's a dodgy subject when you say to people, are you interested in losing weight? Because it presupposes that they are overweight, but it's not just about being overweight. It's about changing the relationship you have with yourself and changing the relationship you have with food. And that leads me nicely into talking about today, you winning an Oscar-winning performance for your life. So you might want to take some notes here because some of what I'm going to say is quite profound. And it's also pretty important. So this is it. It was Shakespeare that said something on the lines of, look, the world is but a stage, and you and me and everyone, we're just actors upon the stage. We've all heard that before, right? And if you haven't heard it maybe hearing it for the first time, imagine if it was true. We're all just actors, and we're on this stage of life, and we're just doing the best that we can. But what really, and let me ask you, would you give yourself an Oscar for your life up until this point? I would, but you might not. And if I said to you, what type of movie have you been in? Maybe some of you say, well, it's been a bit of a disaster. It's been really ups and downs. But have you really been the hero in your own life and been someone that you really identify with in a way that you wake up every day and you go, you know what? I want to follow that person. That person fires me up. I know there's just more and more people just coming into the broadcast. So what we're talking about today is you becoming an Oscar-winning actor in your own life, but you choose the theme of this film. Most people don't like watching disaster films, but some people do. But even in disaster films, there tends to be a hero. someone who you identify with, the damsel in distress, the young man who's put into a situation that he didn't want to be in. I don't know how many of you have seen Lord of the Rings, whether you have or you haven't. In the first film, there's this part of the film where the hobbits are these small little heroes that become incredible. They find something inside themselves and they come to the edge of this field, and there's the realization that they've never actually gone further than that field. And it's the stepping over. And that's obviously one thing that we all have to do. If you want to create a better life and you want to be the hero in your own life, it's really important to understand that you have some choices. And that's where we really need to get down to the nitty gritty today, to understand that the most important thing is your mindset. You see, you identify with Dorothy, you identify with Frodo, you identify with Harry Potter, you identify with many people in your life, and those are made up characters. There are many other people who we identify with because we see something in them that we see in ourselves. And if we don't recognize that, I think we're just crazy. You see, we don't see the greatness in us, right? You understand that. Most people don't. And this is why. And I believe today might be one of the most profound things I've ever said to you, because my goal is to inspire you. And you know, those of you that are watching this for the first time, or those of you that heard me before, we say this a lot with My 365, that look, please understand this. Your future is unwritten. Okay. It's unwritten, and you have the power to create a better future. Do you agree with that? Is it frozen? I've actually frozen, but I'm still here. That's a shame, but these things happen. It's not the end of the world. Well, maybe it is the end of the world. Let me just turn down a few things in the background here and see if that helps. You never know. This is supposed to be super fast broadband or wireless or whatever, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. You might not be able to see me because I'm staying in the Ramada Hotel in Wrexham. So I'm hopefully you guys can still hear what I'm saying. I can see the screen isn't too good, but look, it's all part of the challenge. My niece has joined us this morning. Reva, good morning. You are amazing. And she, like me, likes performing, likes to get on the stage and to give the best of herself to the world. But the biggest challenge that we have is to understand this, that you have two choices. You can either have a fixed mindset or you can have a growth mindset. This is absolutely fundamental. Now, I had a fixed mindset for many years. What do I mean by that? I thought that I had a certain amount of intelligence. I thought I had a certain amount of skills, and I could never, and I just basically wasn't as good as everybody else. That's how I fundamentally felt. I felt that I wasn't as good. I wasn't as intelligent, and that was set for life. And I felt massively insecure about who I was, but it put me on a massive mission to prove that I was good enough. But I was always frightened. When you have a growth mindset, and this is really powerful, when you have a growth mindset, all it means is that where you are now, where you are today, where you were yesterday, where you were born, or just think about where you are today, that's your starting point. That is your starting point of growth. And if you want to fulfill what you have, and if you want to be happy and are happier, you have to adapt the growth mindset. And all this week on My 365, for those of you that are elite members, I'm going to be sharing with you how to develop that growth mindset. You see, what we have in the world today, as many of you know, is a world that is full of people who have a fixed mindset, who feel they're not good enough. You know, we went to school and you were kind of told how good you were. And then you had reinforcement with the marks that you got in life, that you weren't quite as good as everyone else. And when you feel that you're not quite as good as everyone else, what tends to happen is you don't want to show the world that you're vulnerable. You don't want to make mistakes because that would reinforce the fact that you're not good enough. But when you have a growth mindset, you know that the only way to move forwards is to move into things that you find uncomfortable, because you know that's the only way to grow. Does this make sense to everyone? These are just words. And My 365ers, what we are is we are applicators. How many of you have read a book and go, oh, that's a very good book. I've read one of your books. I've read one of your 17 books. It was very good, but nothing happened. Nothing really changed. Well, that's because they're just words on a page. They don't make any difference. What is the difference that makes the difference? It's the fundamental belief in whether you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And this is why so many of you are challenged and aren't where you want to be, because your fixed mindset is one of, well, I'm not getting results. I've tried something. I don't want to look stupid and I just want results now. And because you don't get results now, you just give up and you go back to what you were doing before, and you're comfortable, but you're uncomfortable. You're just not uncomfortable enough. And that's why I'd say the 98% of people in the world do have a fixed mindset. I was on the train yesterday coming up from London, and everyone is looking at their phone. And most of those people are, I believe, have a fixed mindset. They're not looking to grow. They're just scrolling, doing this and listening to things, playing things. They're not reading things, and they're not growing. Maybe you think, well, Sunday's the day of rest, so why should they grow? Well, most people are doing jobs in many cases they don't really enjoy. And that's where the gap exists between where we are and where we want to be. The main reason you are not where you want to be, you're not as happy, you're not as healthy as you could be, you're not as fulfilled as you could be, is because you have a fixed mindset. Can you change that? Of course you can change that. But in order to change it, we have to wake up, right, guys? Wake up and look in the mirror and go, you know what? I'm amazing. I can do anything. I can learn. My nieces, or one of them that's watching this now, were brought up without a television in the house. And then they come round to my parents' house and they'd be like this, because they could watch it there, and they'd be like this. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but what they've learned to do through reading and expressing themselves and talking is they've learned to use their imagination. So this is where we need to get really cool. If I showed you a blank piece of paper and said, look, this is today. What do you want to write on today? What is it that you want to see happen today? If you don't write and think about your intention, then what tends to happen is what happened yesterday. And this is why, journaling is so important. This is today's writing down this morning, journaling, because we have an opportunity to create a better day than the day before. So that's one thing. But then the next thing is to think about, where do I want to go? Daring to dream. I dare people to dream. We have my 365ers, elite members who have created unbelievable businesses in the last year, people who have decided to write books, people who have changed their jobs, people who have found something inside themselves they didn't even know that was there. And that's what a coach is. I'm kind of the director, if you like, and trying to direct you into directing yourself to create a life where you can look back and go, wow, that was fantastic. So you could look back one day and go, look what I became through who's excited right now? Tell me right now. Show me some heart. Show me some love. If you are the sort of person that's thinking, can I really develop a growth mindset? Is that really possible? Come on. Who's excited by that? Come on. You think, Pete, can I really do that? Yes, you can. And then you can wake up every day feeling this massive sense of achievement. And you know what? When you don't feel good or when you feel low, that's when you can immediately go and do something where you grow. It doesn't matter what it is. It's time to wake up and realize, who are you bringing to the party? Who do you want to bring to the party? Sounds like a sermon, sounds like I'm preaching to you, but it is so worth it. But all we have to do is just get started. That's often the hardest thing to do, especially if someone, for example, is hugely overweight. I gave a talk on Friday to a company, and a lady was talking to me about her son who's 20 stone. And you can imagine, if someone's 20 stone, what's the hardest thing to do? It's just to get started, to look at yourself and go, this is big, and you want to, but it takes time. You understand that, right? It takes time. There is a process, and the greatest things in life take time. Now, the Oscars are coming up around the corner. I think they're happening in March, right? Who do you want to win the actor award? For me, there's only one actor. I've not even seen the film yet. It's Gary Oldman winning the Oscar for playing Winston Churchill. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, look at the post I put on there this morning. I grew up watching Gary Oldman. I grew up watching Tim Roth. I grew up watching these actors who would take on really challenging roles. And when they would take on these roles, you would forget sometimes that you were watching the actor and you think you were watching the person. I watched an interview with Gary Oldman talking about Churchill. And when he was offered that part, he turned it down right at the beginning. He didn't think he could do it. Usain Bolt used to say to himself every year, I don't think I can run as fast as I did. But you know what is unbelievable? What's really awesome is that we can still think negatively, but we can still decide to act differently. Does this make sense to everyone? Is everyone still with me here? Or is this broadcast just shut off and it's just me and nobody else? Do you want to develop a fixed mindset? No, you probably don't want to develop it. But if you're not careful and you don't make the choice to develop a growth mindset, life will just be how it's been for a long time. So here are my notes from this morning. And here's my plan for this week. What we need to know is what your potential is unknowable. And once you start to realize this, it's unknowable. But if you've got this fixed, check this out. And this is, let's bring this broadcast to an end. If you don't get this and you realize, you know what, I have got a fixed mindset. Many of our elite members are really on that tipping point of moving away from the fixed and just having a complete growth mindset. When you have that fixed mindset, you're always looking for evidence that you're good enough, but nothing is good enough. Believe you me, that was me for many years. But you also, as I wrote down this morning, your self-worth is always on the line. It's always on the line. We have an opportunity to change that. I really hope that you've taken something positive away from what I've just said. What's your biggest learning from what I've just said? If you want to become a My365 Elite member, we've got a 7-day trial just for £1. Just go to my365.me/elite, and then you can have access to these broadcasts. I can see my image is frozen again. You can have access to all of these broadcasts this week for 7 days and see what difference it makes to your life. And as I mentioned before, you've all got an opportunity right now to pre-register for the My365 weight loss challenge. You can go to mi365.me/pre-sale list. There is in this post, the Facebook post, there is a link. If you click on that link, you can see we open the doors in 7 days, but you can get on the pre-register. Look at all these people who have had incredible success on this weight loss program. And some of them are listening to this right here, right now. People that have taken on a different part and getting healthier and losing weight for so many people is so important. I really appreciate all of you showing up here today. You know, our story, the film that we are creating in our business, is to inspire 100 million people around the world to develop a growth mindset, one where you just want to learn. You want to fill your brain with stuff that stimulates you to get better. And that doesn't happen when you're watching EastEnders. I'm sorry, it doesn't. But if you enjoy watching EastEnders, that's fine. Or Jeremy Kyle. It happens. This is why we are here. We are here to grow. We are here to learn. We are here to evolve. Check out the pre-sale list for our weight loss challenge. And it is a challenge. And we have an amazing group of people who have had incredible success. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate every single one of you. And let me make a quick 1-minute video on here. Instagrammers, thank you. Feel free to look at the post I made this morning about Winston Churchill. It was awesome. And follow me on Facebook. Take care. You guys stay there for a second. Don't go anywhere. Love you, Instagrammers. Like Instagram. Instagram to me is becoming a place like a cutout journal of sticking things on it every day, things that matter to me, things that I'm writing about. Let's put me on here, shall we? It's all about me. Me. And thank you for all your reviews. I think I've watched everyone's review that reviewed, everyone's review who reviewed last week of what they achieved, and amazing. Here we go. Ready? So this is Pete Cohen. It is day one, and today there's me on there. There's me there, and there's me, and then there's me, and then there's me. I'm everywhere because I'm on a mission. Now, are you on a mission? This week, we're talking about how to win an Oscar for your life. Look, most of us have been playing the part of our life the best that we can, but we all probably know deep down we can do better. But we only do better when we often have a big enough reason to drive forwards, or we really become aware that the difference between you and me and others is the difference between whether you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. A growth mindset is what you want to learn. You want to get better. You know that where you are is the starting point of wherever you are to grow. A fixed mindset is when you think you're not good enough. And when you have a fixed mindset, your self-worth is always on the line. We're changing that. We are helping people develop that growth mindset so they can win an Oscar for their life and become the very, very best version of themselves. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, everyone. We really appreciate all of you. Get on that pre-sale list for the weight loss challenge, and let's change you and your life forever. Love you guys. Have an amazing day. I'm going to have a great day. I'm working with Kellogg's today in Wrexham.